Well, hello, YouTube world. We're here today to learn a little bit about how to make a thumbnail for a gaming channel. I have a small channel right now, but I've gotten enough compliments that I figured I'd go through a little small tutorial through Photoshop on how to make a pretty decent gaming thumbnail. This does require a program, Photoshop. I'm sure you're very familiar with it, but it's pretty simple to get. I think there's a lot of small licenses that can get from different sources. So let's just jump right in. First, we'll start by opening Photoshop. Go to New, File. I like to set my pixels to 920 by 1080. That is a standard HD 1080p size file. You can go smaller, larger, but that's a good standard. A lot of people do recommend the 720p, but I like to do this size, and it can always scale downward. Make sure the resolution is 72. That is the standard for web and internet sort of browsers. Click OK. Now you have your basic template. There's nothing there, of course, but a white block. We're going to make some artwork. And for a nice dynamic composition, you want to do a thing called the rule of thirds. Now this means is that you divide this system into 3 sections vertically and horizontally. You do this by grabbing the ruler side and dragging. What you're doing here is you're creating lines that aren't going to be in the final composition, but allow you to guide your eye on what what edges and what not to go with. So just roughly. You don't have to make sure the numbers. If you want to go crazy and actually divide the numbers down by thirds, that's okay, but I recommend just doing it by eye. It's not that important. It's just a good rule of thumb to go by. So as you see, I've kind of sectioned it off in thirds. There's a third up that creates 9 little squares inside. They should be roughly the same size, all of them, but it doesn't really matter, as I said. Next step is I like to create what I call as a branding corner. What this means is that it's something in your thumbnail that allows people to instantly recognize your thumbnail. It should be small and relatively insignificant in the over composition, but allows you to, brand yourself very well. So what I like to do is the bottom left corner, and so we've got these 3 squares right here I kind of work in. Let's first start with a circle. You hold down Option or Alt, depending on if you're in a Mac or a PC, and you just hold it down and then hit Shift after you've started, and it goes into a big circle. See that? Interesting, isn't it? Just bring it over as far as you can. Make sure the bottom is resting at the bottom, and it doesn't matter the top. Let that go. And we're going to go ahead and hit the square select and select the rest of the composition. So now you have this whole side selected. Now you're going to inverse that selection. So go up to Select, Inverse, and now this side is selected. What that means now is you're going to color in this left side, not the right side. Go to your Painter tool and then select your color here. Select whatever color you want right now. I'm GameDojo, so I go with red every time. I just go straight to the top and hit OK. You want a new layer. It's over here on the right under Layers and Fill. Now what this gives you is a section on the left that's fully filled in, but we don't want it that big, do we? We want to shrink it down. So we're going to first do your Select tool, select that layer. Here's a special tip. So up here, there's an auto select area. Have that selected, so that what happens is once you have multiple layers selected or multiple layers in your composition, you can just select that layer and then you can now grab it and move it around. If I select this one, it's locked right now, so I guess I can't show you that, but it would move around too. So select that one and hold Shift and slide it to the left all the way until you get to there. So what that does is now gives you, it breaks away from the edge, so all you've got is that bottom left corner nicely curved into the corner. The next step is to find your logo. What I usually use is just simply the avatar pic that I use in my YouTube channel that everyone should have at this point, especially if you're serious about a channel. My current one is on the desktop, so I go to Desktop. There's my logo, and I just drag it into my program. Again, this is Mac. I believe PC is a little different. You just got to go to File and Open, and there's my logo, GameDojo logo. It opens into a new window. You just click it and you drag it into your composition, and there it is. Now, this is of course way too big. I mean, like way too big. So we're going to shrink it down. Go up to Image, Adjustments. I'm sorry, not there. Sorry. Edit, Transform, Scale. and then you hold shift. This is important, otherwise it'll get all screwy, and go to the corner and pull down, and it'll shrink it all the way to a size as you want it to. And there you go. Now, what I do is, again, the third. See how that in the box? I go over here and make sure it doesn't go anywhere past that third level, and I shrink it until it looks pretty good, you know, and I bring it and I center into that box. And there you go. You got a centered little logo in your bottom left corner. Now we have a branded thumbnail. This allows us to go crazy for the rest of the composition, but this stays the same for every thumbnail. I would recommend saving this as a template and moving on to a new file so that later on you can just open the template up again and start something fresh. All right, next step, background. So this is a big deal. So we're gonna go with Minecraft today. I have never done a Minecraft video, and I've never done a Minecraft thumbnail before, so we'll see what comes up. But it's very popular. I figure if there's gonna be anything that people are gonna wanna make, it's gonna be a thumbnail for Minecraft. So what I do is I always just go straight to the internet. Now, some people do recommend using screenshots of your video. That can be helpful and useful, and go ahead and do it if you want to. But I find that finding images on the internet are usually a pretty good idea. You get a lot of developers who have created great compositional images for your backgrounds, and they're usually really good resolution, so it ends up working out for everybody. So Minecraft in Google. Now, once you're here, it looks great. Oh, it's web, we love it. No, don't go over here and go right up here to images. Click images, and suddenly you get infinite images that are just for Minecraft. But here's another trick. See search tools? Click on that. And under size, click large. Now what happens is only images that you see are large. Now large is kind of a arbitrary term. Usually it just means pixel by pixel ratio. I think it roughly starts at high definition and goes up. So sure enough, there's the first image right here is 920 by 1080. That is a perfect size for our thumbnail because that's the size of our template. Click on that. Look at that gorgeous, gorgeous Minecraft image. Go to view image. Now this is key because the one sitting right here is a preview and it's going to be smaller. View image. There you go. That is a full size image. We will right click, copy image, and go back into Photoshop. And where's it? Edit, paste. And there we go. Look at that. We got a wonderful image in our background. And it's already set at a really good composition, as I said, because it's probably from the developer. So as you can see, the thirds, the guy sits beautifully in the center, but only up to the third of the block, and the dog fits in that same thing. And then on the far right, you got a duck in his own square, you got trees on the left. It's a wonderful composition that's going to work great for our thumbnail. The next step is the logo of the game. Now, this is something I've recently changed. I used to make my own text and say, you know, Minecraft in my own words, but you know what? I've learned that using the logo from the game itself really helps, you know, visually seeing the thumbnail in a large selection. So go back to the internet, go back to the home screen of Google and type in Minecraft, or the game that you choose, logo. Here we go again, but do not click on any of those. Even though it's images, don't do that. That'll confuse the search. So just click images. And this time you don't have to do large because not all the time you'll get a logo that's large, but sometimes you're lucky. The key here is to find a transparent background. Most logos you can find will have a PNG, which is a transparent internet file, or sometimes you can get layered files like Photoshops, and sometimes TIFFs can have blank backgrounds. But PNG is the one to go for. So sometimes typing in PNG at the end will give you exactly what you want. Now, I'm hearing sometimes Google does help you out. Right here it says transparent background. Well, geez, I think that's what we're looking for. So just click on that, and the first one's really large. If you see in the bottom left, it says 1920 by 700. That's a very large file for a logo. So click on that. Click on view image once again, and here we go. Wonderful logo, high res, very crisp, very awesome. Background has been removed. So we just copy this image, go back to Photoshop, paste again, and look at that. Look at that gorgeous logo right there. Now that's obviously not a good spot for it because it's covering up our dude's face. So we got to slide it up into our top third of our composition, and now things are starting to come together. All right, now here's another quick tip. Always have your Navigator window up on the top right. The reason why is, even though in Photoshop that's meant to help you, zoom in and zoom out, for thumbnail creation, that is a good representation of about how size or how big your thumbnail is going to be in the game or in the YouTube channel. So that way you can kind of see what is working and what's not working from the scale, because seeing things really large can look amazing, but once you shrink it down, it can look a little bit, I don't know, busy or hard to read or whatnot. Right now I think we're doing pretty good. Sticking to the rule of thumb of thirds is working out for us. Now, next, I want to quickly tweak our branding a little bit because the background gets a little busy. Our logo and our curve tends to kind of fall apart, kind of falls away. So I like to add a little bit of a white outline to everything. It's kind of, it bumps it off, gives it a little bit more of a designy feel, and also kind of separates it from the back of the composition. Creates a foreground background scenario. So what I do is, with my auto select still selected on my cursor, I select my logo, and you go over to the layer panel and you double click on the layer that you are looking at. And this brings up the layer style. On the layer style, there is a section called stroke. You click stroke and boom, we've got a nice little white outline. Now, if you click on stroke, it gives you the ultimate details, the size, the color. That can all be adjusted to your taste. Usually 9 pixels plus in a white outline is all you need to do. Click OK, and that's it. Now we're going to do the same thing to the curve because we want it to kind of flow into the logo nicely. So click on the corner, double click on the layer, go back to stroke, and there we go. And as you can see up here on the Navigator, it kind of makes it a little crisper, a little bit, a little bit prettier, just a little bit. Now, next step for me has always been to add a headshot. This is optional. I don't know. Not every YouTube channel has face cams. Not every YouTube channel has the opportunity to have a face cam. I know that and I understand that. But since I do, I always add a headshot because sometimes I believe viewers want to see the headshot knowing that there's going to be a vocal and a visual commentary during the video. What I do is I either take a photo myself with the camera, or I just simply take a still from the video that I took for the video, and I edit it for this particular thumbnail. I've already taken a photo of my head, and I'll just go ahead and open that up because there's no reason for you to have to go through watching me cut out a photo image of me, or I should not cut out, find an image of me. Oop, not save, I'm sorry. We're gonna open desktop photo. And there I am. Look how gorgeous I look. I am amazingly attractive. I know that you pretty much at this point are stargazing at my eyes, and I appreciate it. And I do appreciate fan mail of how good I look. So we have a new layer, a new file, I'm sorry, of the photo, and we're going to just take the part of the photo that I'm going to be using. So go up here to the selection tool. It should be at square. It could be at circle still from the last time using it. You just hold down the button, and then if you look, you can see the 4 options. Select square. And then create the boundary where you're looking to grab from. So click and drag. I'm going to drag about that much of my body. And then edit, copy, go back to your thumbnail. And here, go back to your selection tool, go to, okay, this is important, your background layer, okay? Because you want to paste it in front of that layer. And paste. Oop, that's fine. And look at that. I'm on the back because I want to be behind the logo, but in front of the background. Place it to the bottom right and shrink them down till the top of my head roughly hits the 3rd mark. See that? There's that 3rd line. Now, I think currently it's kind of getting a little too close to the Minecraft logo. So this is where it's kind of fuzzy. You can do what you want. You can edit it. You can, break the 3rd rule just a little bit, and that's fine. It doesn't actually matter. I bring it down just a little bit to soften my location, and there we go. My head's in there. Now, obviously it looks ridiculous because it's a big, huge block and it looks ugly. So we're going to cut it out, and we're going to cut it out by hand. There's a lot of ways of doing this. You've got masking, you've got special selection tools. It becomes a pain. I'm an old school guy. I enjoy a simple eraser set to not in fuzzy, but this hard line circle. And I zoom in, and I hand cut this thing out slowly. Now, it can take some time, but here's a trick. So when you click and you hold down Shift, and you let go of the click, and then you move to a different location, and you keep Shift down, and you click again. See how it does a long line? What this allows you to do is instead of hand going all the way around, you can just kind of chop away sections slowly with just click. So click, click, click. See that? And just kind of go around your image slowly but surely, making it look nice and cut out. Because this is going to give a nice professional look to it. You're going to have an image that pops from the background but doesn't have any of its own background to interfere with the image. You only want them to see your face, not the background garbage that may be there. Now, some of you professional YouTubers use what's called a chrome key green or something, I believe it's called, where they can actually just select the entire green background and then cut and paste and get rid of it. I don't have that. I have a background of my room, so I can't have the opportunity to just select and cut. But this doesn't take too much time. This takes the most time of the entire thumbnail creation, which is fine. It's not like a a big pain. And plus, look, you get the time to stare at your face really up close and personal, and get to see all the imperfections in your face and realize how ugly you are, and why you could never find a girlfriend in high school and everyone hated you and you never knew why, and you started crying and everyone laughed at you because you were so ugly, and it's really a sad time. Anyway, so we're back to the next step, which is cutting out the face from the background. Once you've gone all the way around with the cut tool, and make sure it's all the way around, you don't have any gaps, whatnot, you go up to the selection tool, which is the fourth one down from the tool menu. Click that. And here's an important part. See this tolerance? You want it to be 255. 255 is the highest number it can be selected. What that means is when you select it, every pixel pretty much touching that pixel will be selected with it. Doesn't matter the color, doesn't matter the gradient or hue or nothing. This means that I can select my entire face, and only the part that I cut out is going to be selected. I will copy, and then I will paste. Now, with pasting does it adds another layer. So go over to the layer section and delete the layer behind it. You just click and you drag into the garbage can. And there I am. Look at that. Now, aesthetically, it's a little bit weird because I got a lot of dark shadows and I'm in a very bright background. So what I like to do is go up to Image, Adjustments, and Shadows and Highlights. What this does is it kind of adds, oops, I'm sorry, I was in the wrong layer. Back up, Adjustments, Shadow and Highlights. And what this does is it kind of just brightens only the shadow areas of your map. And I like to play with the amount. So you got really low, doesn't do anything, really high, and it looks like I've got some kind of freaky gray screen on. So I like to find something in the happy medium where it kind of matches the background, but it doesn't wash out the image. So somewhere around 20 ends up being kind of where I want to be. And that looks pretty good. So here's what it looks like without it and with it. See the difference? All right, so now I want to sharpen my image. Now, I don't always do sharpening of photos. It's kind of an artificial thing to do, but because all these thumbnails are so tiny, I mean, little tiny itty bitty thumbnails, I think sharpening allows them to be a little more punchier and a little bit more stronger on the visual. So I go to, make sure the layer is selected. I go up to Filter, Sharpen, Smart Sharpen. And this is my settings, like 200%, 3.7 pixels. This roughly becomes a good sharpening for a real small thumbnail. And just click OK. Now, right now he looks really kind of edgy and kind of yikes, right? You know, like a little bit too punchy. But if I zoom out, he looks pretty good. So when I watch when I was off, on, off, on. As you can see, all the little bright areas kind of pop out, and it gives a little bit more of an edge to the image, and I enjoy that. Now, real quickly, compositionally, if you notice, my microphone's popping out the left here, and there's a lot of dead space on the right of my head. I don't want that. I just want me to be kind of, you know, peeking around the corner. So what I do is I take it and I slide it to the right until usually where my headphone hits the edge. You know, so it looks like I'm kind of looking out the edge of the composition, but I'm not really poking my head too far into it. All right, next. Right now, if you look at the logo looks a little bit, it looks good, but I like to add kind of a dark shade or gradient behind it in order to allow it to pop out even more. Because again, we're fighting this whole world of YouTube where you've got 1,000 channels and 1,000 thumbnails. So what I do is I click the very back layer, and you click New Layer, which is this little box on the bottom right. And I go to my paintbrush tool, this one, and I make sure that this is black. And now I go up to here, and you look, there's two different options. The brushes, one is that sharp edge that looks like the cutout tool that we did for my headshot, and then there's a fuzzier one. But this is kind of a gradient or a vignette, as they call it, that goes out of the brush edge. You select that, and then go to size, and do something roughly around, I'd say 1,000 pixels, or you know, that's a good number to go by. And just hold shift and go right across the composition. Oh, I'm sorry. Opacity. Make sure opacity is up high because you want it at full 100%. So click and drag all the way across. All right, so now we have a background black vignette at the top that makes the Minecraft logo pop out even more. Now again, this is with it out and with it in. See the difference? Now look up at the top right. See without, that's how it's you can read it, but it's kind of, you see the blue before you see the Minecraft. Now you see Minecraft before you see the blue. Here, let me quickly change this quick. I just realized this is popping out a little bit too far. There, get that out of the way. There. Now, next step is going to be text. I personally love a certain font. I use all my thumbnails. I'd recommend use a different font because obviously everyone wants to be a little different. I use Artbrush. It's my favorite little font for this kind of stuff. Slightly comical, slightly not. It's a nice little font for what I do. I use these three boxes right here to use for my text information. Bottom left threes is the best way of working for me, and it seems to be a good composition for these thumbnails. Just type in whatever word you want to play. I mean, this is now up to you. This is where you put in your own kind of thing. Gameplay. Oop, that's spelled completely wrong. It's gameplay. Gameplay. Select your entire font and let's change the color. You change the color up here. And usually I go to yellow, because yellow is a really punchy, great color that allows people to see your words very well. And I enlarge it to it's using almost the first 2/3 of the information. Depends on what I'm saying, of course. Everything's a little different. Click enter. Now, right now it's very hard to read because the background's very busy. So what we want to do is outline it in black. That allows you to kind of punch it off the background just like you did with the logo and the curve. Don't do white, because the white is what I reserve the corner for. I use black so all the bright colors really punch. So double click on the layer gameplay. Go to, where is it? Stroke. Click on it and go to color and bring it to black. Now I increased the size of this one. 9 was good for the white, but the black I liked up higher. I want it, so it kind of pushes into the other text. 24 is what I'm using here. And there we go. We got a big gameplay. Now right now I think it's a little too big. It kind of fights the logo a little bit. We're going to bring it down so it kind of, there we go. Somewhere in there. It looks good. Now, we all know we make many, many videos. In Minecraft, we know they get into thousands and thousands of Minecraft videos. So what we're going to do is we're going to make another one, another text that is, and we're just going to do number 1. This is the first one of all of my Minecraft videos that I'm going to be making. Billions and billions of Minecraft videos. And I'm going to do the exact same thing where I stroke it up, and there you go. You've got a number 1 gameplay. Now, sometimes I do a little more vignetting. I do kind of tend to darken the corners and edges, and that's what I'll do here. I'll go back, and this is where you start doing some fine tuning. The personal edging can come in here. You can kind of test on what you think works best and whatnot. But I like a little bit of vignetting on the edges of my thumbnails to give it kind of a, I don't know, a little more. It's hard to explain. I guess it's just more of an aesthetic reason. It's called, technically in the world of Photoshop, in the world of photoing, it's called burning. You burn the edges of a photo in order to create a kind of a focus into the center. And that's what I'm kind of doing here. It allows it kind of to punch a little bit more, but that's where we're at. I believe I like to bring back, I think, some of this dark up here. I think it got kind of doomsday-ish, considering how fun and lively Minecraft is. I like to lighten it up a little bit. So if you go up here in the top right, there's opacity. See, the reason why you wanted opacity when you drew it to be 100% is so now you can dial it back a little bit and allow you to have a softer background. If it was 50% already, then you can only dial it back. You can never add more. So right now I'm going to take the opacity slider and just bring it down until I think it looks aesthetically good. And so we're almost there. I think right around there would be nice, right? So you still get a little bit of blue, but the Minecraft is still popping out pretty good. And I guess that's it. I mean, we're really done there. There's some more tweaking you can do. I mean, you can kind of spend some time with stuff like this and bring it down and bring it over and edge it and stuff like that. But for the most part, that's going to work for you pretty good. So there's a thumbnail. View hide guides if you want to really look at your composition once it's done. Where is it? Clear guides. Well, I can clear them. Why not? So there you go. You've got a nice looking thumbnail for your YouTube channel. And once again, this can be customized to your liking. If you want the words on the right, words on the left, it doesn't matter. The rule of thirds works on either side, top, bottom, left, right. You can put the logo at the bottom, logo at the top. But another reason why this composition works well is because if you notice, when you look at a thumbnail, there's always that little number or that time on the bottom right, the little black square. It tells you how long the video is. So you don't really want anything too far down the bottom right, anything information-wise that's important, because it'll just get covered up. So I always have my face there, because who cares if my face gets covered up? And I know no one really cares about my face except for me. I need to look at my face once a day. That's why I have a thumbnail with it on there. But if you put words down there, it's going to be covered up and no one's going to be able to read it. So I think that's it for now. We'll save this down and use it for my first Minecraft video that may come or may not. Thanks for watching. Well, hopefully this will help some of you guys out making some good thumbnails for your videos. If you'd like to see my other tutorials, go ahead and let me know in the comments section. And hope to see you next time. If this gave you any enjoyment, I mean like anything, please subscribe. Thanks.